What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Breaking Bet. The time has finally arrived. We are mere 12 hours away from opening day, first game, college baseball 2026, going to be a massive season. My guy, John Bollman, we had a scheduling conflict today, so I do apologize, but I got a great college baseball mind, awesome analyst, always breaking down some of the future talent of tomorrow in the sport. Toby Shulman. Toby, super clutch today for you to come in last minute, so I do really appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is like the best time of the year. I mean, the day before college baseball, it feels like Christmas Eve. So I'm always happy to come on and talk some of these matchups.
Yeah, man, it really is the best time of year. I'm super excited to have this day finally make it. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while. Really, come the start of the year, it's like I really start circling like my preseason ideas and like who I'm betting on, who I'm taking a look at from not just a team and betting perspective, players like draft years, and it's here. So
Yeah.
that's all we need to know. But before we get into all that, don't forget, guys, we got the 2026 College Baseball VIP Discord. Got some people in it to win it with me. All the picks for the preseason or the regular season and the postseason futures and plays. Go to dubclub.win /_JohnnyVTV / Toby, are you ready to talk to college baseball, my friend?
Let's get right into it, man.
All right. Coming into the 2026 season, we've seen a lot with the transfer portals, a lot with these new faces in different places. What are you looking at, not just for the 2026 season, but more in particular, opening day tomorrow?
I mean, you said it, the transfers, like in this kind of Wild West era of NIL, especially in college baseball, and we're seeing all of these transfers. I forget the number of transfers that were actually in the portal over the summer, but it was a ridiculous number. I'm excited to see some of these upper echelon teams like Texas, Georgia, Mississippi State, all these guys that got a ton of transfers come in and kind of just usher in like a new era of baseball at some of these programs. And even these mid-majors, like I'm excited to see how some of these programs step up, bringing in a lot of talent from the JUCO levels, and we'll talk about it with some of these matchups. But I think we're going to see a rise of a ton of new talent this year, a bunch of names that a lot of people don't know too much in kind of their households. And, I'm excited to see who ends up topping leaderboards in certain stats and who ends up coming out and having a big first weekend.
Yeah, I think for me, it's sort of the same. It's like, what do the transfers do? There's a lot of new faces, especially in the SEC. You saw some of these top-tier programs like a UNC or like a Texas or a Georgia have to really go get a lot of this new talent. And like they've been great programs in recent years, but they've had a tough time getting over the hump. And then you see a team like LSU who loses all this talent and just finds a way. Jay Johnson doesn't sleep, and he's able to go get all these great players. But how are they able to assimilate, especially from the JUCO level? There's a lot of teams that brought in some big JUCO stars that hopefully can get them towards their goal. So that's really a big point of emphasis. And what do they look like in the opening weekend on their new team? Different expectations. Those are a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah. And they won't all be answered this weekend, but we'll get a little bit of a preview of what they're going to look like for the rest of the year. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But let's start off with the first game at 9:30 in the morning down in Puerto Rico. Always got some great classics in that tournament there. It's Houston at Wake Forest, or Wake Forest is the home team, I think. But Wake Forest is going to be throwing out Blake Morningstar, a guy who was very efficient last year. Minus 250 on the money line. Wake Forest, I wouldn't be laying, obviously, minus 250. But is this a good parlay piece for you to get an early morning win off the board for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think we're going to see a really good start out of Blake Morningstar, and I think these guys are just amped up to be playing in Puerto Rico in some nice weather early in the morning. I mean, it doesn't feel maybe like college baseball. It probably feels more like a tournament showcase circuit for some of these guys. But it'll be a lot of fun. Houston, they did lose some pretty key pieces last year. So I'm excited to see how they kind of bounce back from that, but it's going to be a tough test for them against a Wake team that, not really, I guess, reloaded, but they're kind of retooled here with Morningstar starting tomorrow, and having guys like Cade Lewis in the lineup as well is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, Wake's an interesting team. I've heard some people think that they're kind of back on that dark horse path. I don't know if we're going to see for a while the 2023 team.
Yeah, that team was ridiculous.
That team was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they got some talent, man. They usually are able to pitch with the pitching lab. Pitching coach Corey Muscara is gone. He took the Duke job. That's a big loss. Corey was able to get a lot out of some of these pitchers. I mean, I'd put him as one of the key factors that made Chase Burns what he was in that huge jump in 2024. And you got a guy like Morningstar, super talented. They brought in some new faces as well, and they got some good bats. For this particular game, Puerto Rico, if you didn't watch that tournament last year, it was really interesting. You had some of these smaller schools really able to contend with a Virginia, for instance. That was really the first step to their disappointing season. But I do like Wake Forest, man. I do like Morningstar. Houston does have their own star in Kate Clemmy. That's an absolute dog over there. That's like a super dark horse for a Big 12 Player of the Year. I think ultimately, man, Wake Forest minus 250 is a very solid parlay piece to kick off a 9:30 Eastern time first pitch.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything better.
All right, so if we're parlaying Wake Forest, what are we doing with Oklahoma and Texas Tech? Oklahoma lost a lot, especially on the mound. They lose not just their ace, one of the top pitchers in the country, Kyson Witherspoon. They lose his twin brother, Malachi. It's a real big blow, but Cam Johnson was a guy that they slotted in at times as the Sunday starter last year. He was a transfer from LSU. Just a large human being, 6'7", 250-plus pound lefty with a very electric arsenal. Now he's starting out as the Friday night guy for this season against Texas Tech, who, they've been struggling in recent years under Tim Tadlock. Minus 140, this is part of the Globe Life in Arlington Shriners Classic. Always a fantastic tournament. Oklahoma minus 140. Are you rushing to the window to bet this one? What's your thoughts on the Sooners?
Just because of who they lost, and I know they still have a really solid lineup, but losing Witherspoon and obviously Malachi as well, I'm really interested to see who steps up in this game. But I don't know if I'm rushing to bet it, honestly. The Shriners is always a very hard to predict tournament as well. You get these guys playing in a big league ballpark, and a lot of them turn it up to another level. So if I'm touching this game, I'm probably touching a total here. I don't know if I'm going with Oklahoma here. It's definitely just a tough matchup to go and bet.
I wouldn't be rushing to put Oklahoma in a parlay piece.
Yeah.
I think if you like them, it's fine. Minus 140 is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I see a huge matchup advantage on the mounds just because of the uncertainties of Cam Johnson. I do love a Skip Johnson-led program.
Yeah.
But I do think there's definitely some uncertainties. I'd like to see how the Sooners shake out this year. I think ultimately they'll be a solid team, but opening day, there's not much in the way of high-level confidence for me backing this team. I don't think it's a bad play, but definitely not one where I'm running to the window. But I will say this. Reggie Willits installed just one of the most dangerous running games we've seen in the last 3-4 years in the sport. In a ballpark like this, Oklahoma, who has been more or less a death by 1,000 cuts, stolen base type of team, fares well in this type of ballpark.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think Oklahoma is decent, but again, not really running to the window for this one.
Yeah, no, I still like them. I take them straight, honestly. If I'm gonna take this game, I would take Oklahoma. But again, I'm not rushing to take either. I'd be more comfortable taking a total. But yeah, I don't hate getting Oklahoma at minus 140.
In terms of a parlay piece, we can't not talk about UNC.
Yeah, no, we
UNC's facing off against Indiana. Indiana lost some guys from last year.
Mhm.
Offensively, they're still solid. They got Jake Hanley returning. This is a Big Ten Player of the Year type of guy, although, it's going to be hard for him to win with Rock Chalowski
Right.
running point in the Big Ten. But, I mean, look, man, they got Jake Hanley, who hit 14 home runs last year, batted with 1,000-plus OPS. You got Cooper Malamazian batted 320 with a 906 OPS. Hogan Denny batted 292, 924 OPS, 6 home runs. Like, there's some guys in this Indiana lineup. Obviously, you lose a superstar in Devin Taylor, a guy who I thought was a steal by the Vegas A's this year or this past draft. But the big question is, what does their pitching look like?
Right.
So they're going to be trotting out Tony Newbeck, a guy who formerly of Mizzou, absolute disaster last year in limited appearance. Only 17.1 innings pitched. He had an ERA over 16.6. He allowed, I think, 33 or 34 earned runs in just over 17 innings to go along with 16 walks. It really wasn't pretty. And I know Indiana can score, but I just don't know if I have a lot of confidence in Indiana pulling the upset against UNC and likely Jason DeCaro. And one of the elite bullpens in the country. And, like, I know North Carolina revamped a lot of their offense, brought in a lot of transfers, but I'd still think Scott Forbes is going to figure this thing out and be able to score enough against Tony Newbeck and company for an opening day win here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Indiana's always been that kind of like pesky Big Ten team that even if they're not record-wise the best, they're still going to give you a tough game. Losing Devin Taylor, like you mentioned, is going to show big time in this game. And, they do, like you said, they still have guys. It's just not guys like North Carolina. I mean, this North Carolina offense is stacked. Bringing back Gavin Gallagher, who had 17 homers last year. So I'm excited to see what they do. And they're probably not going to need to provide all that much run support to even win this game. I mean, I think DeCarlo's going to go out there and he's going to give them their best shot of winning. And I just don't see Indiana really coming close to a win here. I think UNC here is just a great parlay piece.
Yeah, look, man, the big thing is parlaying these stud pitchers, which Jason DeCaro honestly is. I like UNC. I think they're going to be a threat again. I do have a lot of questions about how their offense is going to assimilate. I think they picked up a lot of JUCO pieces, and something like that, it doesn't always click for these JUCO guys, especially early on in the season. Right. So I'm projecting some growing pains for this Tar Heels team, but I think they have enough to get past the Hoosiers on Friday. That's a team that I have already in a parlay I put in. So I feel like you can back Jason DeCaro with confidence here on
Absolutely.
Friday.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you open up this one here in the surprise Arizona little tournament that they have going on. Oregon State's going to be playing against Michigan. It's obviously a big line. How would you be looking to attack Oregon State?
Well, do we have a run line for this? Well, what is their
Glad you asked.
Yeah, because I actually don't know that either. But obviously I'm all over 3.5. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't hate taking that, honestly. I know Oregon State lost a bunch of pieces on offense. Iva Arquette obviously being that top guy. They still got bats. They have Dax Whitney on the mound. I don't think he's going to be giving up many runs. Now, I believe Tate Carey will pitch tomorrow for Michigan. I'm not sure if they confirm that or not. I could be wrong about that, but whoever's pitching for Michigan, I think, is going to have a tough task tomorrow. Just playing catch up against a guy like Dax Whitney, who's going to be just unbelievable this year. I mean, and having Ethan Kleinschmidt behind him. I can't wait to see what the Beavers do this year. And I think they're going to start it off big tomorrow against Michigan. I love Michigan baseball. I think they have a great team this year. One that has an outside shot of competing for the Big Ten. Like, the common theme, it's going to be hard with UCLA, but I think Michigan's going to have a good year. It's just a tough matchup with Dax Whitney right now. So I don't hate laying that 3.5, honestly. Maybe if it's a straight bet. 330, I don't even hate that for a parlay, honestly.
I have Oregon State in a parlay. I think this team is going to be good this year. I know I made a lot of enemies in Corvallis last year. I was actually big on them in 2024. 2025, I feel a little vindicated because I was pretty adamant that I'm like, they didn't play in a conference and, they're getting a top 8 national seed. But I mean, look, man, they had a good team last year. I think they're going to have a good team this year. Their pitching is disgusting. They're in that UNC type of bucket where they lost a lot of offensive production, but the pitching is going to be gross.
Yeah.
One of the best 1-2 punches in the country, Dax Whitney, is a superstar. Dax Whitney is top 5 material for next summer's draft.
Yeah.
Like this is a dog. Very Dylan Cease-esque, high 90s living, sharp slide piece. Secondaries otherwise are pretty good and just dominant, man. Competitor on the mound. In this particular matchup, I'm curious to see what does it look like. Same sort of sentiment for Oregon State as UNC. The offense looks a lot different.
Yeah.
You lose Abe Arquette. You lose Gavin Turley. You lose Wilson Weber. You lose Trent Caraway. The only big producer from last year in that lineup is Jacob Krieg. I think he had 14 home runs. It wasn't a big average hitter. So they have a lot of things to figure out. AJ Singer's back as well, Easton Tall, but a lot of these new pieces got to come together. But because they can pitch so well, this is a Beavers lineup, at least early on, that's not going to be asked to do an absorbent amount.
Yeah.
They can go out there, score 3 runs, and that can be all she wrote, especially against Michigan. I'm not in love with Michigan's team.
Yeah.
Lose Mitch Voigt, lose Dylan Vigneault. I feel like the Beavers here are a great parlay piece. I don't hate the 3.5. It is always dangerous, especially if Oregon State is the designated home team, which I think they are, because you lose the half a run, and now you got to win by 4 runs.
Yeah.
But I think if Oregon State can get to 5 runs, they're going to be able to cover this, because I don't think I see Dax Whitney giving up more than 1 run, and their bullpen is really strong. I imagine we'll see some Wyatt Queen tomorrow, who's a big piece out of their pen. And by the way, as a side note, let's remember something. It's February 13th tomorrow. It's the first day. Pretty much all of these programs, especially with their top arms, especially with these superstars, they don't push past 5 innings.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 if they have a good pitch count. So I don't imagine we're going to see a lot of these aces go past 5 innings tomorrow. So that's why when you're handicapping this, you also got to keep in mind, does the team I'm betting on have a good enough bullpen? Which Oregon State does. So I think 330 in a parlay piece, absolutely. 3.5, I'm all for. I think they can get that done. So I think Oregon State is definitely a team to get involved in somehow tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you said, Dax Whitney can go out there and all they have to do is score 3 runs, and that could very well be the game. That really now just kind of scares me away from the spread, because you're absolutely right. They could just put up 3 runs and win by 3, and that's it. I still wouldn't mind maybe playing it, but parlay piece on the money line, I think, is where it's at with this game.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I also think I might see an under 12.5.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
I think it really depends on what we think from Oregon State, because, look, I think if Oregon State even scores 8 runs, I don't know if I see Michigan coming up with 5.
No, not with Dax Whitney on the bump, and not with this fully rested bullpen to start out the season. I just don't see that either. And
to be honest, like 8 runs could be even optimistic for Oregon State right now. I'm not saying they can't get there. It's just there's a lot of question marks. Right. I mean, for all we know, like Oregon State could win 10-0.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ball flies there in surprise. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see whoever's making fly ball contact is going to be the team that probably comes out with the W there.
Also, side note, not sure what's going on with the Twitter. It's streaming to Twitter, the podcast right now, but is the feed showing up? No,
I was actually going to bring that up to you because I was going in to try to repost it and I wasn't seeing it. So at least it's not something on my end, but hopefully maybe, it just pops up here. Sometimes Twitter's kind of finicky with the live streams.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what's going on. Every podcast I have posts to Twitter. So it is. Let me see if I can view it here. Give me a sec. I'm not sure why the live stream is a little shaky right now. Bear with me. It's very strange. Let's see if I can retweet it. No. Yeah, I mean, look, I can access it from Twitter, but I can't do anything with it. I find that a little
Yeah,
odd.
same view on my phone too. So that's odd. Maybe something new Twitter update or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I apologize. I know some of you probably aren't seeing it as a result. Should get posted later, but I'll look into that and see what's going on there. It's really weird. I'm actually like really curious about this right now. I don't know
No,
why.
I agree. I'm looking on my phone too.
I'm trying to understand what's going on. It's really annoying because I know a lot of people have hit me up like, oh, like, I can't wait for the show. Got to get the picks, all that.
Yeah.
But apparently some people can see it because we have a decent amount here. We got some on YouTube as well. So shout out to everybody watching.
Awesome.
All right. Arguably the top game of the Friday slate also features one of the best pitching matchups of the slate. Vandy against TCU in that Shriners Classic. Connor Fennell, Tommy Lepore, TLP versus Fendaddy, which, by the way, I saw Connor Fennell pitch his first career start at Vanderbilt last year against Texas A&M. Saw it up close and in person. He is impressive. Tommy Lepore, Big 12 Pitcher of the Year caliber. Toby, I don't understand this. Why is TCU such a sizable underdog with what's likely a pitching advantage on the mound here?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing the line. So I was really surprised to see this come out with TCU plus 120. I feel the same exact way. I mean, I love Connor Fennell as well, but I mean, Tommy Lepore, he's Tommy Lepore, man. Like, you set the stage perfectly with saying that pitching matchup is like the best all day. I mean, it really is. Like, and the fact of the matter is, like, I think TCU has a better offense too. Like, I don't understand really why they're dogs here. I think it might be a square bet, but I mean, dude, I'd play TCU all day here.
I was trying to figure this out.
Like, is somebody not playing that we don't know about, or are we?
All right, let's break this down. I don't think it's outrageous to say front to back. It's relatively fair in terms of a single game matchup. I give the advantage, not heavily, but definitely to Tommy Lepore.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see what the bullpen looks like because we know TCU's roster is good. Is it championship level good this year? Is it national championship contender, College World Series winner? Remains to be seen.
Right.
The problem last year was the depth with the lineup and the pitching. Like, they have star power at certain positions. Now, what does it look like for TCU once the bullpen has to come into the game? One thing we do know is Tommy Lepore's a dog, man. Tommy Lepore's a dog. This is a guy who's getting up to 101, heavy sink fastball, change piece, slider. Slider's problem is it can miss a lot of bats, but if he's not commanding it, then it can get hit around.
Right.
But I really like what Tommy Lepore has, Toby. And on the offensive side, they have 3 potential first-rounders. Story Strohsnyder is a dog. Dude, this kid as a freshman, easy. He made the game look so easy. Double-digit home runs, cleared a 310 average, cleared a 1,000 OPS. Like, we're looking at a legitimate top 10 pick this summer as a draft-eligible sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Brunson. Noah Franco is a two-way, was pretty damn good. Double-digit home runs, batted over 300 last year. Chase Brunson is a dog. They bring in Noah Franco's little brother, Lucas. That's just to name a few.
Yeah.
And then you got Vandy, and I like Connor Fennell. I think he's great. He had an awesome year last year. Now he's taken over as the Friday guy, as the true ace, which, look, he did pitch in game ones last year. For Connor Fennell, he's topping out at like 91, 92. It's really the secondaries that cause a lot of the problems. He's got a funky arm angle. And look, maybe the big ballpark does help down here in Texas. And TCU's got to be a little bit more creative with gap to gap, getting on base, getting over, getting in, blah, blah, blah. I think the big advantage here is going to be Lepore against the Vanderbilt offense.
Yeah.
it's a big turnover in terms of like high star power for Vandy. They brought in the Johnstone brothers from various schools. Really, the big returners that they have are Holcomb and Johnston, which were really good. But with a lot of moving parts, I want to see what this Vanderbilt offense looks like, because they kind of went into lulls last year. They had games where they were hitting the shit out of the ball, and then games where they couldn't even get on base. And Tommy Laporte is the caliber of pitcher they're going to be seeing for most of the year.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, look, Vandy has every chance in the world to win this because they are a great team. They have Tim Corbin, who's the Bill Belichick of college baseball, the original standard of head coach.
Yep.
But in terms of betting on this game, dude, I think the wrong team's favored. And even still, like, this is a big number. Like, TCU is either the easiest layup of the year or they're the biggest sucker bet of the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tommy Laporte on the plus money in their home state. I think roster-wise, it favors TCU. But I'll say this. If this game is like 3-2, 4-3, like a one-run game in the seventh inning and Vandy has the lead, then I'd get a little bit nervous if I'm back in TCU, because they still got that boy Miller Green in the bullpen, who was one of the top closers, top relievers in the country last year. So if you're backing TCU, you want this team to have the lead later in the game and just hope that bullpen can hang on to it.
Yeah.
But TCU plus 120, it makes no sense to me, dude. Tommy Laporte, I'm taking that shit all day long. I love Connor Fennell. I love the Vandy boys. I went to that ballpark last year. Big fan of their program. Expect them to have a great year this year, but just handicapping this game, this is TCU, especially with the money. I think the wrong team's favor. I'd probably make this a little bit more along the lines of TCU minus 125, Vandy minus 105, because that's what we do.
No, I completely agree. And like you said, it's either, the biggest sucker bet or I forget what else you said. It's like
I said it's either the easiest layup of the year or it's the biggest sucker bet.
Yeah. And I mean, if it is the biggest sucker bet, I'll gladly be a sucker on this game, because I think they're going to win this game. I think Sawyer Stroh-Snyder hits a home run in this game. And I mean, I think the wrong team is favored. We keep saying it. I think it is.
And listen, Globe Life is a big park.
Yeah.
You don't get these cheap home runs like you do in other ballparks. But even though you got to earn it, guys still hit it out all the time.
Yep.
A guy like Sawyer Stroh-Snyder definitely has the pop to get out of here. Noah Franco's got the pop. Vandy's got a couple boys that got the pop. But you got to earn it.
Absolutely.
TCU. I like them straight. And I like them. I'm going to give you guys a little long shot parlay that I have for tomorrow. And we're going to talk about the other piece to that parlay right now. UC Santa Barbara at Southern Miss. God damn it, I like this matchup.
I love it.
Allow me the pleasure of starting, please.
You got it.
Southern Miss is a great program. They lose their ace, J.B. Middleton, last year, was a dog, but they have pitching. Their menace of a closer in Colby Allen converts, at least for now, into the weekend rotation as the Friday guy. This was a dude last year. Southern Miss had a good offense. They lose their big piece in Nick Monasterio at 21 home runs, but they still return production. It was a team that batted over 300 and had over 100 home runs. They couldn't get it done against Miami in their own region. They're at home field advantage, travel advantage. Roster-wise, they are better than Santa Barbara. But as you could probably imagine, why am I betting Santa Barbara?
It's the guy they got on the mound.
Jackson Flora. I was all over Jackson Flora last year. I'm actually proud to say I mentioned him a couple times in my tweets last year, and he liked him. His dad liked him. So it's a personal accomplishment for me.
Always.
But Jackson Flora, man, I've been talking about him all year last year. And if you're a real college baseball guy, this isn't the first time you've heard his name, like in pre-draft mocks from MLB.com. This is a 6'5". This is a 6'5" behemoth with whip. So he's obviously thin. He's 205. Like he's not like 260. He unofficially last February got up to 102. This is a kid routinely in the high 90s hitting triple digits with two different sliders, a gyro that's like 88 and a sweeper that's about 80. Two different ways to get you out. Flora was incredible. This is potentially the number one pitcher off the board this year, top 10 pick. I love me some Jackson Flora. That's why I'm betting them. Aside from the fact that we're highly unlikely to see a Jackson Flora-led team at this price for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Look, Southern Miss is a good team. I'm not taking away. Like, I understand why they're favored. I just think this is a big number. I'd probably make them a little bit more along the lines of minus 140, Santa Barbara plus 110. But I can't not take Flora, man. I understand that the UC Santa Barbara offense wasn't great last year. They lose their best hitter in Latrell McCollum. But they have a few guys returning, man. They have a few. I think they can get this done. This is going to have to be one of these like 4-2 type of games. I think it could be lower scoring. But again, let's remember, star pitcher Jackson Flora, unlikely to go past 5 innings. So that means the bullpen's going to have to do it. They have some bullpen pieces. Their UC Santa Barbara is a pitch-first program. Turned out Tyler Bremner last year, Friday guy, number 2 overall pick to the Angels. That's what they're known for. I just think Santa Barbara is a little bit too big of a number. I got to go with my guy Jackson Flora here. I like this pick. I think Santa Barbara is one of the big upsets of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, this is the same thing as kind of the TCU pick when they're being played as dogs. It's just like it makes a little too much sense, and I feel like if it's there, we got to take it because, like you said, we're not going to get it again like this. Minus 180, like money line bets, always get me like feeling kind of weird. I don't know, like I'd rather like play a minus 200, minus 250. Like the 180s just always make it feel like a trap line to me, and it is going to be a tough game. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Hattiesburg is one of the premier mid-major environments in all of college baseball. Hosted a regional last year. They're going to be coming in and they're going to be excited. But Jackson Flora, I mean, he is the prototypical UCSB arm. It's a frontline ace right-hander with just incredible stuff. You said it. Tyler Bremner last year, same type of player, great stuff. He ended up going 2nd overall. If you don't think Jackson Flora got hyped up seeing that, I got news for you then. I mean, he's going to go out there and he's going to try and start what could be a potential top 10 campaign next year or for this upcoming draft. I think he's going to shove. And like you said, he's probably not going to go more than 5 innings. But, I mean, I think that's going to be enough at least. If they can put up 3 runs while he's still on the mound, I think they'll be in pretty good shape here. It's just a matter of can UCSB outlast the environment that is Hattiesburg? And that's going to be, the real question. This place that's been just kind of fiending for college baseball since they lost that regional, they're ready, and I hope Flora is more ready than they are because I'd also take UCSB here.
Yeah, I cannot take you at UCSB. I'll say this though, one knock on Flora. Sometimes he has the tendency to miss locations, and I feel like sometimes a lot of his sliders, they always he let up I think 8 home runs last year. So he has a tendency to get his sliders right in the bat path of a right-handed hitter. Location be a little bit sharper this year in order to like continue progressing and making that jump, which I think he will. He had like a 3 or 4 game stretch where he really struggled, but outside of that, he was nails all year. Jackson Flora, man, this is the guy. Like there's probably 5 pitchers. If you're new to college baseball betting, whatever it is, there's about 5 college arms you need to circle this year. He's one of them.
Yeah, easily.
He's at the top of this list. Kansas Jayhawks, brother, at UTRGV plus 135, 12 flat total. You riding on Kansas?
Yeah, I love UTRGV this year. They were my Southland winner for my conference predictions, but I love Brady Ballinger, and I know I kind of just said a minus 180 line is always tricky for me, and this one's not too far off of that, but this team is, I think, going to be so good, and I think they're going to be sneaky out of the Big 12 this year. Maybe not sneaky because I think a lot of people are on them, but I think they'll have a chance to contend, and I'm just excited to see Ballinger out there. I think he's going to take over this game. Great mid-major versus Big 12 matchup, but I'm riding Kansas here.
Yeah, man, so am I. Dom Vagley, this is a talented arm, dude. Dom Vagley is a very good pitcher. He had a down year last year, but Kansas, myself, a lot of other people expecting a much better 2026. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Dom Vagley and Brady Ballinger for me. UTRGV, it's a Texas team, bro, right?
Yeah,
Like
they got some.
California, Florida, Texas. Those states always have this talent surplus that these guys that play at these smaller schools, these mid majors that don't play at the bigger programs, they're still really good. And that's why you see a team like UTSA make a run last year. It's just that's how it happens. But I like Kansas, dude. I liked them last year for the Big 12 conference winner. I like them again this year at 11-1. I think they're being slept on. There's a lot of love in Arizona State, Oklahoma State, which I get, man. They have talent. TCU is the favorite because of the first round star power they have, but don't sleep on Kansas, dude. I think they're going to be flirting with 20 wins again in the Big 12. And I think they're chomping at the bit because they probably feel like they're a little disrespected in the market.
Yeah.
Like, even though they might not be paying attention to the odds, all the hype's on TCU this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a pitching advantage. You have one of the best hitters in the country, Brady Ballinger. They brought in some JUCOs. I think they brought in like 6 or 7 JUCOs for their offense. So that's a big question for them as well. But I think for this game, I like them. Honestly, that's why I put them in my parlay that I was talking about with TCU, USB, or UCSB, and Kansas. That one pays out on DraftKings plus 729. I threw a full unit on that motherfucker. full uni on the 3 legs, 2 dogs. I'm excited for that one. I will be getting absolutely no work done tomorrow. I'll be sweating out these bets. I mean, come on, bro. Come on.
No, you got to. I'm
TV, yelling at the TV like I always do. That's my thing. We're locked in tomorrow. Like, I'm turning off my phone so nobody calls me, nobody texts me, nobody bothers me.
Oh, it sounds like a weekend.
It's a week. I mean, what are we going to do?
Nothing else. I don't want to do anything else. Are you kidding me?
Brother, we're back.
We're back.
But yeah, I do like Kansas this year, man. I think they are a contender. I think they are a very dangerous team that a lot of people are sleeping on it. If even a few of those JUCO transfers work out, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
I do get concerned they lose Cooper Moore to LSU, which was a very nice pickup.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna find a way to navigate. I think minus 175 probably ends up closing a little closer to 200 before game time. And also let's remember this is for the season in general. When lines drop, especially for a Friday game, for game ones, we see a lot of movement overnight, the day of. So obviously the games are tomorrow. We'll probably see a fair amount of movement between now and game times tomorrow. And I think Kansas could be inching close to that minus 200 threshold. Like a lot of these teams we talked about, the odds are probably going to change considerably. Yeah. Like I imagine TCU is going to be coming down. UCSB is going to be coming down. Oregon State's going to go up. UNC is going to go up. Kansas is going to go up. Unit, let's go. What's up, Logan? Yeah, 100%. Unit, fuck it. We're doing it. I'm back. Like, come on. I can't go halfway in on this. We're going all the way in.
Yeah. It's opening day, man. Come on.
Opening day. It's opening day. All right, the nightcap of this Globe Life Shriners Classic. Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. Is it me or is it just it's not college baseball unless Oklahoma State is in the Arlington Classics?
No, you're right.
It's not college baseball. But luckily they're in it this year. Oklahoma State, new look, man. They lost a lot from last year. They lose Harrison Bodendorf. They lose our boy Nolan Schubart off the rip. That they lose a bunch of other guys as well. And Hunter Watkins was supposed to be one of their key weekend arms. He's going to miss the whole year. Late injury, not good. Speedy recovery for him. And it seems like Oklahoma State, from what I've been reading, is going to attempt to transition away from what they've been, a team that hits for a ton of power, swings for the fences, and move towards this get on base, death by 1,000 cuts, get over, get in, like manufacturing runs. They returned two of their big hitters in Colin Ritchie and Colin Brueggemann. But is that enough against Arkansas with Gabe Gackel on the mound? The Gack attack is back.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough. Gack attack is back. I mean, this is a guy who is first-round talent, is going to show it all year in the SEC. And, they do lose guys like Zach Root, Charles Davalon, Vahiwa Loy. Like, they still got Aloy's brother. They've got Ryder Helfrich. They've got Cam Koziel. Lineup stacked. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's the start of the year. So the Arkansas Razorbacks are going to look like the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I think they take this game pretty handedly, honestly. Probably play the over 11.5 as well.
I actually have Arkansas in a parlay piece.
Yeah.
I think
I'll probably place the same thing tonight.
Minus 220. Again, we're talking about the movement overnight. Arkansas is probably going to close, I would say, somewhere near minus 250.
Yeah.
Minus 260. And if you don't think lines move that aggressively in a short span, in this sport they do.
Yep.
They move drastically in this sport, especially with sports books where it doesn't take that much money to move these lines. I think Arkansas is going to be a great team. I have them going back to Omaha. I like Gabe Gackel. He is just got immeasurable talent, fantastic heater. That's really what the Arsenal's anchored by. If he could be consistent, if the command can be consistent this year, and he's really able to stay competitive in at bats. Sky's the limit, man. This pitching staff, yet again, is going to be disgusting. They lost a lot of bats on offense, but they brought in some guys I really like. Mike Aneo. They brought in TJ Pompey. They have Ryder Helfrich coming back, who's expected to have a big year. I mean, 15 home runs, batted over 300 last year. Cam Koziel, 15 home runs. Kahio Aloy's back, 15 home runs. Like, they're returning some guys, and then they brought in some new guys. They have a couple freshmen they're excited about. Minus 220 is a bargain here.
Yes.
This is honestly one of the few times that I would even consider laying this straight up. Minus 220 outright. But I love Arkansas in a parlay here.
Yeah.
I think they win this one by at least 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah. I mean, you got to like the aces here. You got to go, with the guys who are just going to give you the best shot to win on opening day. Those are those guys. Gabe Gackel's one of those guys.
Yeah, 100%. And they have literally a ton of arms in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So even something along the lines of Gackel goes 4 or 5 innings, they have a few guys that could just piece it together that are legit weekend guys in most programs across the country. So, all right, the last one that we're headlining here is Stanford at Arizona, or versus Arizona in that Sunrise tournament. Homecoming for Arizona here. Minus 160 against Stanford. I don't know what I did with the lines. Let me adjust. I apologize. I was on something doing this. There it is. Sorry, let me take this down real quick. But while we're talking about this game, do you give Stanford any shot to get this one done, or is this an Arizona steamroll?
I think I wouldn't say steamroll, but I just think Arizona's going to take it. I do like some of the pieces that Stanford has. They did lose some key pieces last year that I was like kind of surprised to see them go. Like Scott going over to Georgia. I thought, change of scenery, great. But I was a little surprised to see a guy who last year preseason was like a first round caliber talent just leave the program. Mm-hmm. So seeing stuff like that doesn't really make me buy into Stanford too much. Again, they do have some bats that I do like. But I think Arizona as a whole, they brought in a lot of really good transfers. I think they just had a pretty bad injury to their pitching staff, if I'm not wrong. The name's escaping my head right now. Say that one more time.
Is it Aiden Keenan?
It might be. Again, the name's just escaping my head. I just saw Kendall Rogers tweet something about it a few days ago, I think. So, but yeah, I think Arizona's going to win this one. This is a team that is just historically such just a solid program that I hate betting against them, especially to open up the season. I think I like the minus 160 too. I feel comfortable playing that.
I'm fine with Arizona straight up -160. I'm fine with them in a small parlay. I wouldn't bank on them for a big one. Here's the problem. Arizona's pitching is gross. Owen Kramkowski, who's going tomorrow, is in the mix for Big 12 Pitcher of the Year. Like, this is a legit strike thrower. This is a very, very talented pitcher. This is a talented staff. It sucks that Arizona lost Tony Pluto, their closer. That is one of the elite closers last year, and they lose him a few days before the season starts. That's awful. But I'm more concerned with their offense. It was an offense I had questions about last year, which I didn't buy them to win the College World Series last year, despite their pitching, because of the lineups. The lineup lost their three best players: Mason White, Brendan Summerhill, Aaron Walton. It's a big loss.
Very big.
Now I don't know what it looks like for the Wildcats baseball team on offense. It's going to have to be done in a similar fashion to some of these other teams we talked about, where their pitching is really just going to have to carry the burden. Stanford, I didn't like their move to the ACC. I didn't think it was going to be worth it for them. Obviously, this isn't an ACC matchup, but they lost a lot in the portal. It's also another thing, like a school like Stanford that's so academically inclined and Ivy League caliber, you're not going to get a ton of these big-time transfers.
Yeah.
You're losing more guys. Like, look who they lost. They lose Timo Becerra, Joey Volchko, Matt Scott, all in one offseason. They're not able to retain that. And as a result, the talent disparity between them and some of these other teams that spend money and bring in these transfers is getting wider. Now, if you're Stanford, I mean, you're returning Ritaro Sasaki, who's a huge piece, who's going to be a big name in the draft. Jimmy Natty, 16 home runs last year. Tatum Marsh had a good season, batted .377. They had a couple guys that batted pretty well in the 340s. But really, I just don't know if the Stanford team has enough oomph outside of Sasaki and Jimmy Natty.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree.
And then pitching-wise, I don't know if their pitching is really going to be able to contend. For this game, for instance, they're throwing Nick Dugan, who was more of like a reliever last year. He was okay. He had a 4.38 Sierra, 39 Ks, 22 walks, in 35 innings. Nothing special. It might be able to contend with an Arizona lineup that's looking brand new. But I just think there's a big advantage for Stanford or Arizona's pitching staff, and that's ultimately why I think -160 is a fine price. Like it's not going to make the list as one of my favorite plays of the day, but I think it's doable. I think they're fine straight up. I think they're okay in a parlay piece. I'm not high on Stanford. And I think Arizona's going to regress this year, even before the loss of Tony Pluta. There's a lot of questions about that offense, but there are no questions about that pitching. And that's why there's going to be times this year where I'm fine betting Arizona because they can shove.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's just, again, it's just such a solid program. It's never one I like to bet against.
Chip Hale does run a tight ship. All right, that goes for all the headlines. Toby, anything that you want to talk about game-wise that we might have missed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the line on this game, but, just scrolling through the scoreboard, it caught my eye. Xavier taking on ECU this weekend is one that I'm really excited for. Xavier was just a pesky Big East team. They were one of those pesky Big East teams last year. I think they went out and beat Tennessee in one midweek game. And, they were my, team that I would always just take their spread. I would always just take them to cover, a +4.5. And they would go out and they'd do it. And they have a pretty solid lineup this year. ECU on the other end, they got Ethan Norby, Braden Burris. They have kind of a reloaded whole roster as it is, and they're ready to make a push for the American again. Heartbreak, letting UTSA take that title last year. And I think that's going to be a really great series. I'm pretty sure it's a series. I don't see that they're playing in a tournament. So I'm pretty sure that's a weekend series. But I'm excited for that one because I love Connor Mish. I think he's a great bat out of the Big East, one to watch for Player of the Year. ECU, they're going to. What do you say?
Ryan Pish?
Connor Mish?
Pish. Are you talking about the Xavier starter?
No, I'm talking about one of their hitters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Ryan.
no. Connor Mish, I think he has one of the highest WRC plus as a Big East returner this year. Definitely a guy to watch out of that lineup. But ECU, man, they're going to be looking to start off on a big note here, and they're going to be coming for the American title. So I'm excited for that one. Other than that, again, these aren't really great games to bet on, but I'm wondering kind of what you feel about this Coastal Carolina series against Fairfield.
Before I touch on that, East Carolina was interesting to me early. I thought about putting them in a parlay at minus 260, but I remembered last year Xavier gave Oregon State some trouble in a couple of those games. I think they started out this season with like a 4-game series early on, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
They were a handful in a couple of those games, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
ECU, man, I really haven't bought in on them in the last couple of years since they lost all that talent that they had with guys like Trey Savage heading up the rotation. I like Ethan Norby. I think he's a very talented pitcher. I just get worried about the rest of their team in terms of being able to consistently cover these big numbers. Like I'm not talking about throughout the season as them being a good team or making a regional or anything like that. I'm saying in this particular instance, Xavier is a pest, dude. They're a pest. And they always find a way to like stay in these games when they have no business winning.
Yeah.
In a ballpark like this, in the jungle, you're never out of it.
No, never.
And as good as Ethan Norby is, man, we've seen better pitchers than him absolutely fall flat on their face in opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So minus 260 against a team that just hangs around in Xavier, that's not a bet I'm really willing to take, even in a parlay. I'd honestly be fine with taking a shot on Xavier plus 2.5. Straight up.
I like that.
They're starting Ryan Peach.
Mm-hmm.
He was okay last year, 4.37 ERA. Really, the big bugaboo was 49 walks and 59 and 2/3 innings. So if he could manage to keep the ball in the strike zone and free passes to a bare minimum, I don't see why Xavier can't hang around in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this, like you said, man, they're just a pest. Like they're gonna stick around. If they weren't a pest, that line would be a lot bigger.
I mean, just for what's the word I'm looking for? Just as like an add-on, I'm trying to make sure that this was not a midweek. Yeah. So in a weekend game last year at Vanderbilt, remember Xavier played Vanderbilt and they played them tough?
Yep.
He went 5 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks, 3 walks. I mean, that's the kind of potential at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's
not good, but they're not Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So like this is the kind of guy that's got that potential. If his stuff is on, he gives you 5 good innings, limits it to less than 3 runs, gives his team a chance. There's no reason why Xavier can't hang around. And I know Ethan Norby's a dog, but like let's remember, this isn't the Ethan Norby midseason where he's going to go complete game again. No hit piece. This is the guy that's probably going to go 5 innings, 65, maybe 75 pitches. And I could be wrong, but like that's typically how it goes. Maybe Cliff Godwin extends him. Like we've seen in certain instances where opening week a guy will go 6 innings, 85 pitches. But I just going off the probability that it's not going to happen for most of these guys. And I just think this is a big number. Not saying ECU won't win, but I think Xavier is a big enough pest to where I'm scared to take ECU in a parlay at minus 260, even at home.
Yeah, I'm definitely scared to take ECU tomorrow. I just think from just like a pure viewing standpoint, that's going to be one of the better games tomorrow. Betting wise, it's going to be a sweat, and you're probably going to be on the edge of your seat the whole time. So if you like that type of thing, go for it.
That's definitely a sweat. And I got to be honest, dude. Like typically what we've seen from at least last year DraftKings, closer to game time, they're going to give you different markets. They're going to give you first fives. They're going to give you race to X runs. They're going to give you alt run lines. So like even maybe something along the lines of taking Xavier plus 3.5, a little bit more juiced up, maybe throwing that in like a smaller parlay, say with like Arizona money line. Not bad.
Now we're cooking.
Now we are cooking. You talked about Coastal Carolina. I don't even think that's on the board.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm more just, and obviously tomorrow they're not going to put, a game line out there because it's Cam Fluky day. It's probably not going to be very close. But This Fairfield team is pretty interesting. So, I mean, I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that. I didn't know if there was a game line for it, but I was kind of looking there and I couldn't find one either. So we don't got to get into it. I mean, it's just Cam Flukie bump day.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, but I mean, I'm just interested to see what they come out like looking like after losing in the finals last year.
Yeah.
Cam Flukie's a stud. I mean, with Jackson Flora, that's one of the names to circle. Like Cam Flukie, Jackson Flora, very similar pitchers. But I mean, look, it's worth it just to see Cam Flukie. Like, what does he look like? This is his draft year. This is another guy that could potentially be the first pitcher off the board. But I mean, betting wise, it's obviously it's obsolete. But just for viewing pleasure, it's gonna be nice to see Coastal. First game back, Kevin Schnall. What does it look like this year? But real quick, what are you thinking about Charlotte against San Diego? Charlotte's -160, San Diego's +124. I got news for you, Tobes. I picked Charlotte to win the AAC this year, +750.
I really like that pick.
Sleeper.
Yeah, no, I really like that pick. It's weird because I was actually looking at the American Conference winner future today, like a few hours ago, and I saw FAU was like on DraftKings at least +700. I'd like to think I know FAU baseball pretty good, but I didn't know that they were getting that type of look from the books this year. I thought it was going to be a bit of a down year after losing their pitching coach and Trey Beard, but my mind leans more towards a team like Charlotte. I'm not looking at these ECU or UTSAs. I know I picked ECU, and I think they could get back. But that Charlotte team has a lot of value. Their pitching development's great, I think. They bring back a guy in Cody Gunderson who's really good. I love picking them tomorrow. I mean, if they do have a line, I haven't seen it. You said they were minus
160.
160? Yeah, I would take that. I mean, I think this Charlotte team is going to be good. They lost Blake Gillespie, obviously, but it's just next man up for them. And Charlotte, their team does have a couple of staff members that have showed love to my Twitter before. So I have a soft spot for Charlotte baseball for sure.
Definitely sucks losing Blake Gillespie, who was a monster last year. But, look, Charlotte's they're a great team. And in a conference that's honestly really winnable.
Yeah.
I mean,
open.
They always seem to find a way to kind of hang around. And I think, Robert Woodward just putting out competitive rosters, really interesting. Haven't really seen enough from the Toreros for me to want to bet them. I like Charlotte here. I think this game's at home. I think this is a regular weekend series, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Let me look at their schedule. It is. It's at home. We got a travel advantage first day. I like Charlotte here, man. I think Charlotte's one of these interesting mid-majors. I think this is the kind of team that's going to be able to make a regional.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think Charlotte's a team I'd be looking at tomorrow. What about Troy versus Mercer? Troy's out to -145. Mercer is +114. Troy's always up there with Southern Miss and Coastal as like one of the three teams that has a good chance to win the Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm.
Any love on Troy against Mercer tomorrow?
Yeah, I like Troy. I mean, I would lean Troy for sure. They're just a really solid program. They did lose a couple key pieces, but I think they still have why is his name? Blake Cavill. They still have him, so that'll be big for them going into the year. I've heard a lot of buzz around Mercer though. I'm not too well versed in them, but like all like the podcasts and stuff that I listen to around college baseball, they've been gassing up Mercer quite a bit. So I'm really interested. I don't think they'll end up beating Troy, but I'm intrigued to see this game. I'll definitely tune in for like a couple innings, but I would still probably take Troy tomorrow. I mean, to start off the season, I feel like they're just going to be in a pretty good spot to win tomorrow. Same.
I think Troy Charlotte, solid little money line parlay here. +174. +174 solid for these two teams. I think they both have matchup advantages. Very capable programs.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a fair look. Anything? All right. Let's talk about this. So UCLA is facing UC San Diego. They're a -500 favorite, but they're 4.5 on the run line. Any look to be betting UCLA laying 4.5 runs?
Probably not, in my opinion. It's tough to win that. Like, I get very, very, antsy about betting a line that big. And UC San Diego, for me, like, they're not like a team that's getting a ton of like love preseason, but they did bring back 5 key position players. I think they brought back a couple starters as well. So, I mean, I could see them maybe somehow, some way sticking in this game. I don't think they do because, I mean, we talk about UCST bringing players back. UCLA brought back like 8 of their 9 starters. So I don't know. I mean, UCLA is going to be coming out swinging with guys like Rock Chalowski and everyone behind him. But I don't know if I'm betting that, honestly. I think I just stay away from this game, honestly, and maybe just watch for just the viewing pleasure. But there's so many better games that I could bet. I feel like I'm just not going to really go towards one that's probably just going to end up biting me in the ass.
Yeah, look, man, I don't blame you. I think there's definitely, because there's so much college baseball, especially it's a long season, it's a long weekend. I think for me, and I know for a lot of people, it's like a kid in a candy store. See everything you want to bet it, you want to have it. But I think it's definitely a better idea to be a little bit more selective.
Yeah.
In terms of limiting what you're going to do. I mean, I definitely think tomorrow the teams to center around is going to be Arkansas, Oregon State, Wake Forest, taking a piece of like Santa Barbara, TCU, Kansas, like those kind of teams. I think it being a little bit more strategic to start off. UNC is one of them. Pretty much the teams we highlighted, man. I think those are kind of the teams to center around. Pick some sort of combination of a few of those. And honestly, the weekend's going to open up schedule-wise. There's going to be better matchups throughout the season or throughout the weekend that you're going to be able to bet on. So just remember, guys, you can't win your whole season on the first day, but you can lose it. So don't get cleaned out on the first day, please.
It's a very good point. Very
good. But Toby, before we get out of here, since we're going to have you on the preseason, who you got to win it all?
To win it all, my 2 futures to win the College World Series was Florida State and Georgia Tech. I'm going to go both of those. I think Georgia Tech. I love the offense that they bring back. I love the rotation. I think they're going to step up, and I think they're going to also just surprise a lot of people who maybe don't believe in them. Florida State, on the other hand, same thing. Rotation's unbelievable. Miles Bailey leading that offense is going to be insane. But Drew Burris, Von Lackey, that team's going to be hard to beat, man. And if they can win the ACC, I think Georgia Tech sets themselves up to win the regional, the super regional, and then hopefully roll all the way to the College World Series. UCLA is going to be tough to beat. I don't like going with the number 1 team, though. So I'm going to go with Georgia Tech, who's right around there. No
love for the SEC, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I got to go against the grain. Everybody usually tries to go with an SEC team. Mississippi State really interests me this year. So that'd be maybe my SEC pick. I picked Georgia to win the SEC just because I love their transfer class, but I don't think they get it done. So I'll go Georgia Tech. I love the team this year.
You know what, man? To be honest with you, I really, 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 really like a couple SEC teams. Yeah. It's not easy, dude. It really isn't, because personally, I think, and I hate to say this, there's a little bit of fool's gold at the top this year. Like, I love Tennessee, I love their program. I think they're going to be in for a rough year. I'm not buying Coastal to get back.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why it rarely works out, where if you lose the College World Series, you get back the next year. It doesn't happen very often. I know they might have a clear path. They're a very good team. That's going to be difficult. I think, in all fairness, like North Carolina, as great as their pitching is, I have concerns about their offense, how that's going to assimilate.
Yeah.
I think UCLA is great. I think they're going to be in Omaha, but I just don't know if they're going to have the firepower to make it in Omaha in order to get past some of these top tier teams. And look, man, I think FSU is going to be really good, but I felt like if they were going to win it, their shot was last year or the year before. Like they let me down. I had so much money on them in 2024 when they fell apart. I feel like FSU losing Vellini and Jamie Arnold and a couple of their key bats from last year. Like Florida State's going to be win the ACC regular season contenders, like, host a regional, possibly a super regional. But it's not about that. That's not why they're playing. Like, the path sets up fine, but can they deliver? Do they have the guys to do that? Wes Mendez was really, really good last year in his first year in the rotation, but is he a super regional weekend guy? Remains to be seen. Same with Trey Beard. Love Trey Beard at FAU last year. But is he ready to make that jump into the ACC as a Friday night guy or even a Saturday guy?
Right.
So I get that. Georgia Tech I like a lot, and there's been a lot of hype on them. I've heard people on both ends of the spectrum with Georgia Tech. Everything you just said, and then they're being overhyped. I have Georgia Tech as a team that I like. I bet them 8-1 when it dropped to win the conference again. But I worry if their pitching can complement their offense good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because their offense is going to be top 10.
Yeah.
Like, their offense is going to be averaging 8 to 9 runs a game.
Yeah.
How good can their pitching be consistently when you get to June? That's the big question. But I don't think it's bad. Like, Georgia Tech's come down a lot odds-wise. I don't think that's a bad bet. In case you missed it, like, for me, my two teams, and I have a little portfolio of teams that's like kind of in it that if I haven't taken a piece, that's what I'm keeping my eye on. But really basing it off, it's Texas. I think they're going to be disgusting, especially if Volantis is able to make that leap into the weekend rotation after being a superstar as a closer last year. Their offense should be a lot better. Picked up some big transfers.
Yeah.
Carson Tinney from Notre Dame and Aiden Robbins from Seton Hall. They have guys like Adrian Rodriguez, Ethan Mendoza, Casey Borba returning. Jonah Williams is a huge X factor. Pitching's great. Offense should be a lot more productive than last year. And then Florida. For the life of me, I can't figure out why Florida is still 40-1. They have maybe the best 1-2 punch in the country.
I agree. I really
Their
agree.
offense is good. They picked up a mammoth in Ethan Surwick from Ole Miss, who has some of the most raw power in the league or in the country. Blake Sear in for a bounce back. Kate Curlin back from injury. Kyle Jones back from injury last year. Lineup should be good. Brendan Lawson. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Florida 1 should be like 25-1 or less. So I'm not understanding the 40-1 number. I already got a unit and a half on Florida. Like,
I might have to join you there. I really like the Gators this year.
Brother, I put a full 1.5 unit on Florida. I think they are going to be a 40 to 45 win team. And I think they're going to be back into the dance and have a shot to win it all. I really do. Their schedule's not easy, so I could see potentially some tough matchups for them in the SEC where, like, instead of winning 20 games, realistically, they probably win like 15 or 16. Maybe they get a top 16, or maybe they're a really dangerous 2, whatever the case is. But I think Florida 40-1 is just insane to me.
Too much value there to not take.
Insane.
Yeah.
So those are the two teams, that I'm really, really in on in terms of like top 2 bets right now.
Yeah, I like those picks a lot. I really, really am high on the team that Florida's bringing in this year. I think I might have to go sprinkle that after we get off of here.
Yeah, I think you got it, brother. And let me tell you, if I'm going to go non-SEC, non-ACC team, I think Oregon State at 30-1 is a little high. And I know we talked about their worry for the lineup, but ultimately I think that's going to get figured out, man. I know it's a lot of moving parts. They lost a lot of production, but understand something. They have one of the best pitching staffs in the country, and they have a layup of a schedule. They have a clear path to 40-plus wins. They have a clear path to not only host a regional, but a super regional again. And their price is insane. So if their lineup is good with their pitching staff, if they're back in the same situation that they were last year, which is it's not a certainty because nothing's a certainty, but it's a very high probability, and you're getting 30-1, why wouldn't I take them?
I agree. Again, it's too valuable not to take. Like, the layup of a schedule, the pitching that they have, like, pitching wins championships. You could talk about the offenses all you want. Like, we were just talking about that with Georgia Tech. It's the team's going to average a lot of runs. Do they have the pitching to go all the way? I mean, we could say pretty comfortably right now before the season even starts. Oregon State has that pitching staff to go all the way.
They lost to Florida State in the Supers last year, right?
Oregon State, nah. They lost in the College World Series.
They did. Oh shit, you're right. Oh, bugging. See, this is the problem. I can't remember.
No, it's late, man. It's late.
Right. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. But look, man, if they get back to where they were last year, and you're getting 30-1 on that, I mean, there's no reason why they can't. Like, I understand they don't have an Eva Arquette, like a top 10 overall pick right now, but man, I just think 30-1 is a big number. Because really, dude, like, because they're out west, and you have to think about it realistically, there's not that many talented teams out west, geographically speaking, that are going to be able to contend with them. Like UCLA they're not going to face UCLA unless it's in a super regional, if that's how it shakes out. And then obviously you got to get past them. That's a problem. But in terms of a regional that's very winnable, it's good chance they're going to get that and probably host. And then it really comes down to if they can beat whoever they play in the super regional, which is probably going to be a tough matchup, but you never know. Like, we've seen teams that we don't expect to make it, and then it ends up being a cakewalk for another team. And then you get to Omaha, and then, you got 30-1. I feel like Oregon State is massively undervalued in the market. I'd probably have them a little bit closer to like 25-1 as well. Like right in that Florida tier, 25, maybe 23-1, something like that.
Yeah. 30 is crazy.
But it has been a long day. Toby, you're an absolute champion for stepping in last minute and saving the day. Really appreciate it, man. I know you do a lot of great stuff for the sport. You're always analyzing players. You're bringing guys back that I watched 2, 3, 4 years ago. And I'm like, God damn it, I remember that guy. And highlighting the minors. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
So you guys can find me on X at T Schulman Report. That's pretty much where I post all of my stuff. Also on Substack, but that's all linked down below in my bio there. So you can find all of that there. That's pretty much it.
But Toby, really appreciate it, man. Definitely going to have you back on the show throughout the year. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Apologies about the mishap here on the live video showing up on my Twitter page, but we will be back. Should be back tomorrow for Saturday Lines. Have a great rest of your night, and let's win some money.